In this video, we're going to talk about 15 pennies you can retire from. All of these coins sold for a lot of money. Not many people know what to look for when it comes to identifying rare coins. Watch this video and you'll understand what collectors are looking for and what brings in the big bucks at auction. Our first coin is the 1909 VDB. This penny was graded mint state 67 on a scale from 1 to 70. So this is a pretty high grade. This one sold for over $117,000. What makes this penny so unique? In addition to the high grade are the initials of the designer, VDB, for Victor David Brenner. Only a small amount of the 1909 VDBs were minted because the initials were removed from the Lincoln cent early on. The VDB can be found on the back of the penny at the very bottom. This penny is from a 5-coin proof set. It graded proof 68 on a scale from 1 to 70, and it sold at auction for over $125,000. Here's why. This penny is believed to be the finest matte-proof Lincoln cent in existence. Sometimes it pays just to be the best. Our next penny is a rare error coin known as a double die variety. When a coin die is being created, the design is cut into a main hub. The hub is pressed against the die under extreme pressure to transfer the design to the coin dies. Sometimes these dies move slightly between pressings, and this can result in the doubling of some of the coin's features. This is what's called a double die. The doubling on this 1955 penny is pretty extreme. You can even make out the doubling with the naked eye. This one was graded mint state 65 and sold at auction for almost $60,000. Here's another famous double die. This one is from 1969 and it was minted in San Francisco. This penny was graded mint state 64 red by PCGS. You can clearly see the doubling on all the numbers and letters on the front of this penny. The combination of the unique variety and the condition of the coin brought in a whopping $126,000 at auction. This is a rare mint state 67 red 1911 Denver minted penny. This is really a beautiful coin in excellent condition. It's hard to believe it's over 100 years old. This penny is plentiful in the mint state 65 grade, a little scarce at the mint state 66 grade, but there are only about 5 of these pennies that have graded mint state 67. That's why this one right here sold at auction for $66,000. Unless you're a collector, you might not recognize this as a penny, but this is the penny design before the Lincoln wheat cent. This is an 1864 Indian cent. You can find these in circulation, but it would be pretty rare. This one sold for over $160,000, and here's why. This penny is a proof coin and it was graded proof 65. It also has a green CAC sticker, which means that it's thought to be on the higher end of its grade. An 1864 proof 65 Indian head penny is rare, but they're not worth this much money. What's different about this one? If you look closely under the last feather in the headdress, you can see a sideways L on the ribbon. The L is the initial of the designer's last name, Longacre. The proof version of the 1864 Indian cent is a semi-key date. It's estimated that only about 20 of these coins were struck. Elite collectors with big pockets have really driven the price of collectible coins to incredible highs. These collectors pay top dollar for the best grades for each year a coin was minted. This 1925 Denver minted Lincoln cent is one of those coins. This is the single finest 1925 D penny graded by PCGS. It came in at a mint state 66 red, not too far from a 70. What can that get you at auction? This one sold for almost $75,000. Take a look at this 1922 wheat cent. It's a little darker than most of the pennies we see for extreme amounts of money. This one was graded mint state 65 brown by PCGS and it has a green CAC label. This penny sold at auction for over $82,000, and here's why. This penny was minted in Denver, but you can't tell by the mint mark because it doesn't exist. Usually, a coin without a mint mark means that it was minted in Philadelphia, but in 1922, no pennies were minted in Philadelphia. It's believed that the mint mark was destroyed when the dies clashed or was removed accidentally as a result of resurfacing the obverse die. There are two varieties of this error, the weak reverse and the strong reverse. This refers to the amount of detail on the back of the coin. This penny is the strong reverse variety. In the 1940s and 50s, collectors pulled a large amount of worn 1926 San Francisco minted pennies out of circulation, and they're relatively common these days. 1926 S pennies, considered about uncirculated, are a lot more difficult to find and more expensive when you do find them. Mint state coins for this year are extremely rare. This 1926 S penny was graded Mint State 65 red by PCGS and is considered the finest known 1926 S cent. That's why this one sold for almost $150,000 at heritage auctions. Have you ever seen one of these before? This penny goes all the way back to 1856. It's called the Flying Eagle cent. The condition of this coin is incredible. It was graded Proof 67 by PCGS, and the green CAC sticker tells us it's one of the finest in that particular grade. This penny is believed to be the same variety as the original 634 Flying Eagle cents that were distributed to members of Congress for their approval. This penny sold for $240,000 at heritage auctions. Here's an interesting mint error. It's believed that only 5 of these exist. This is a 1905 Indian head cent that graded Mint State 64. What makes this coin extremely rare is that it was struck on a $2.50 gold planchet. When I was a young man working at Wendy's, sometimes I would accidentally make a mistake on a triple cheeseburger so I could eat it for free at lunch. It's likely that a mint worker intentionally created this error and snuck the coin out of the mint for profit. This gold Indian head cent sold at auction for over $250,000. Most collectors have heard of the 1909 SVDB. It's a rare and valuable penny that everyone wants. You don't hear much about the 1909 VDB. The 1909 VDB doesn't have a mint mark, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. What's desirable about this one is the grade compared to other 1909 VDBs. This penny was graded Proof 67 Plus Red Brown by PCGS, and it's the highest grade known for a proof penny from this year. This is so rare that someone actually bought this penny at auction for almost $260,000. No list of rare pennies is complete if you don't mention the 1944 steel penny. This is a 1944 San Francisco minted steel penny. Steel pennies aren't rare per se. You can find them at coin shops and online. What's rare is the year of this steel penny. In 1943, the mint produced pennies minted on a zinc-coated steel planchet because copper was needed for ammunition for the war. In 1944, the mint reverted back to a copper planchet for pennies. This one graded Mint State 66 and sold at auction for $408,000. For the same reason we just talked about for the 1944 steel penny, we have another rarity on the 1943 penny, but in reverse. 1943 pennies were minted on a steel planchet to conserve copper for the war, but this penny was somehow minted on a copper planchet. This 1943 Denver minted Lincoln cent was graded Mint State 64 brown, and it sold at auction for $840,000. This penny you're looking at right here sold for over $1 million at auction, and here's why. 1958 was the last year of the wheat cent. The reverse of the Lincoln cent was changed to the Lincoln Memorial starting in 1959. There were over 1 billion pennies minted in 1958. 252 million of these were minted at the Philadelphia Mint. This penny is an error variety known as a double die. You can see the severe doubling on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Look at how beautiful this error is. This variety is known as the king of the double dies and rivals the 1955, 1972, and 1969 double die pennies. So this penny was minted in 1958, but the first time this error was reported wasn't until 1983. Since its discovery, out of the 252 million pennies minted at Philadelphia, only 3 of these double dies have been confirmed. Out of the 3 known examples, 2 were graded mint state 64, and 1 was graded mint state 65. One of the mint state 64 pennies was sold at Stacks & Bowers auction in Baltimore for $340,000 in March of 2018. The higher grade mint state 65 sold at the Great Collections auction earlier this year in January for $1,010,000. Can you imagine having so much money laying around that you spend over $1 million to buy a rare penny? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video with your friends and family. Thanks for watching.